Welcome back. I'm HADDY NDURE and I've got Kafayat in the studio with me. We've been talking, Kafayat, about your book that you've just released, 100 Thoughts from One Mind. Yeah. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Africa and being African in here.
Yeah.
And, you know, growing up here.
Yeah. So I was mentioning to you before that my parents were born and bred in Nigeria and they came to London, but all of us were all born and bred in London, other than my sister. She lived in Nigeria for quite a few years, but all the rest of us, the younger ones, we kind of just all been brought up in London. None of us have gone back home to
So
Nigeria.
obviously for you, having not been back home and stuff, how do you imagine Africa, and how do your parents kind of tell you, what stories do you hear about Africa?
You know, when my parents talk about Nigeria and stuff, they get a lot of joy out of it. Like they love it. Like they always talk about the culture. They always talk about like a big bowl of food and everyone sits around and eats
with their hands.
Like, yeah, everyone eats with their hand. It's beautiful. Like and in London and stuff, we're like so westernized. Like whenever we never have a big bowl of food. Me and my brothers, everyone start digging down. Everyone's got their own plate. Yeah. Everyone sits in their room and eats. No one sits like all around and gathers around.
There's that kind of togetherness more
and stuff.
In Africa.
Yeah, like when they talk about it and stuff, it just sounds like it's really unified and stuff.
Definitely.
But it's beautiful, like the way when they tell stories and how fun it is. You know, everyone playing outside, and it's kind of similar in London and stuff. Obviously, we don't all sit with one bowl and eat down here. I'm not gonna lie to you, we don't.
Yeah, you do have friends that you come together with. Yeah.
So yeah, when I do sometimes see what it's like there. It seems, I don't know, I don't really know what to say about it too much because I've never been there. But there's always a lot of stories that you hear and stuff.
Beautiful stories.
Yeah, really nice stories. But I've never ever gone down there.
For young Africans that move over from Africa to here, like myself, at first I think you kind of just think, I don't know, people kind of choose different routes in life.
Definitely.
Like for example, myself, I don't use that. I don't let that limit me, the fact that I'm from Africa or, you know, I wasn't born here or whatever. Yeah. You just kind of have to go out and get it. But there's so many people that let that limit them. They just think, I've got an accent, or I'm this, I'm that, I'm from Africa. People are racist. How do you feel? What's your opinion in all of this?
I think, to be honest, everyone, the way people interpret things are so different from each other. So like when I hear some people's views on things, it may be so different from mine because I've never experienced any sort of limitation. I've always I've always been told I can do anything, and I've always felt like, oh, I can like kind of just get through anything. But obviously everyone's got their own interpretation, but I feel like if they do feel that way and stuff, there's a way to overcome it and stuff. You're saying that people say, oh no, I've got an accent, I can't do this, I can't do that. But it's about finding your own space and stuff. There's a way of embracing all different things. Like
all the different things.
You can do so much with so little sometimes. It's just about knowing how to do it. Obviously it's a lot harder than it sounds. Like I'm making it sound so much easier.
So much easier,
so much harder.
Some people say, oh, it's not that easy.
Yeah, oh no, it's not, of course.
It's
like
not.
life's
Nothing's
competition.
easy.
Of
Nothing's
course, like
easy.
nothing gets put on the plate for you. Well, some people, well, if you're lucky,
people,
if you're lucky, then that's
alright for some.
yeah, if you're lucky, innit? That's life, innit? You just play the card you're dealt, really, innit?
But if you're not, you have to kind of go out and get it yourself. You have to.
If you're not, then obviously sometimes it is harder for some people, but it's about how serious you are about banging on the door really, really hard. If opportunity doesn't come, make your own, innit?
And that kind of relates to your poem, can I say, Don't Change?
Yes, exactly.
Because it's saying, you know, don't fit into anyone else's whatever.
Yeah,
you know, just
bubble,
be yourself, just express yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit like my poem Life's Destiny as well, where it's like, you just play the cards you're dealt. That's life, to be honest.
Life.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like,
just have to accept it.
Yeah, you just got to accept it, or just try and do what you can do, really, and stuff.
With it.
Yeah.
Positive ones, of course.
Yeah.
In a more positive route, kind of, not just do whatever you want to do.
No, not do whatever you want to do, but it's like, if you can't bang on someone else's door, why don't you just make your own door? Obviously, it's not that easy, but it's like when some people start their own businesses, like they say they couldn't get into a certain field, but they knew how that field works. Try and start your own business. Like obviously, like that's not that easy because you might need funding and stuff, but there's a way around it.
There's a way around it.
Oh, big time, yeah.
If you really want to do it, you will do it.
Yeah, it's also about motivation because it's hard to be motivated sometimes. We all have days where it's like, oh,
can't be asked.
You can't be asked. You just want to sit in front of the telly watching Jeremy Kyle, drinking a cup of tea.
But you can't do that forever. Where's that going to take you?
Yeah, no, you can do that for about 6 months. I'm joking. Of course not.
Okay. Some people do. Some people actually do.
No, of course it depends on the person. If you want to, that's fine. But if you've got a route and you want to do something, it's best to try and do it as soon as you can. Like it's not easy, but I think everyone's got it in them.
Everyone's got it in them. And I think what's important is that right now I feel like there's so much more positive stories about Africa and Africans now.
Loads,
because before it used to be so negative. It'd be like, oh, there's this in Africa, that in Africa. And even the way Africa is portrayed in like mainstream media, it's all like Africa's some third world, you know,
and
developing continent, and it's all horrible and everyone's poor and dying and stuff, and it's not like that. It's so beautiful, and it's so
beautiful. The thing is like, you never know so much about a country until you've actually physically
been.
Because people are always going to tell you stuff like, oh my gosh, the people like this, the people like that.
I remember when I first came here, I had a few like friends, and then they would ask me, oh, do you really live in trees in Africa? I'd be like,
why did they ask you that?
Because that's what they thought. That's what they thought.
Trees.
Oh
that's gosh, I've never heard that.
That's what they. That's what they thought. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? It's like you only sometimes comment on what you see and stuff. It's like I got to go to Saudi Arabia, which was such a blessing. I went for Umrah with my family. It was amazing.
That's good. That's amazing.
And the way Saudi Arabia was when I was there was so different from how I interpreted it. Like it was so different. It was like the girls, we all wore similar clothing. It was like, it was so, I remember when you were in a shop, when it's time for prayer, you hear like Allah Akbar. Like it was so different from how you interpret it. But you know, you know when you just listen to the press and you just watch the news and stuff, the way you see things can be so,
you have to make your own mind up about things.
Exactly.
If you're really interested in something, go and find out
about
find
it yourself.
Don't just believe everything you're fed.
Exactly. Sometimes you're only shown one side to things. There's do you know what? You know when they say there's two sides to every story?
Every story, that's
like a fair comment in a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
In life in general.
There's two ways.
There's always another side too. Now we'll go back to the book a little bit. Who is your book targeted? Who is it aimed for? Who's the audience? Is it young people especially? Is it just for young people, or is it for everyone?
Well, to be honest, I think when people read it, they do say it's very relatable to everyone. But it's very relatable to young people, because I guess a lot of the views that you got, like that I mentioned and stuff, is kind of just views that I felt when I was writing it. But it happens to be relatable to everyone, because everyone kind of goes through the transition of growing up and learning who they are, finding who you are. It kind of talks about, like, and I've got poems about when I was like childhood. It talks about like my like favourite teacher in school, like, you know, growing up, just really just random stuff. So it's kind of just, and it shows when I'm like from when I was a little kid to like when I was like in college until I was growing up, and then kind of just had to like go on my own and kind of like learn who I was and stuff. So it's kind of, I think it's relatable to everyone, because I think everyone goes through similar transition.
All those stages and stuff.
We're all gonna get old one day. Trust me.
One day. Hope it doesn't come too soon.
Let's just enjoy it.
You've kind of mentioned that a bit, that it's kind of stages, and I felt that when reading it, I felt you were kind of finding your path. Would you say you're in the same situation in real life?
No, it's really, really funny when people read it and they're like, "Oh, were you like not necessarily lost?"
Not necessarily.
Okay, I don't want to hear that term. Not necessarily lost, but in effect, like finding your path and stuff. And then when I read a book over again, I can kind of see what people mean and stuff. Maybe I was kind of trying to find my path, because when I read the book, there was a lot of like self-doubt. There's a lot of like confusion. There's a lot of disbelief. There's a lot of belief. It was kind of like mixed. Not believing yourself, and it was kind of just a whole mixture. So yeah, maybe at the time I kind of was feeling like that. You know, obviously as you grow up and stuff, you're always finding your own path.
It's a mixture of different feelings.
Yeah, I wonder if you ever do find your actual path. Obviously, hopefully you do.
Obviously, there's a path that
you're
going to take.
But yeah. But you make decisions every single day of your life. Like, do you know what I mean?
And like, they kind of lead up to that path.
And the funny thing is, the decisions you make like always shape your life. Is always going to be like that. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's just something that I think is a journey, and I think life's a journey. And
I try not to regret anything as well. And just say, because sometimes you think back, it's better to kind of learn from it than regret.
That's what I say. Like in one of my poems, and No Regrets, it's like it's so easy to always look back and be like, oh my gosh, should have did this, should have did that. But when you think about it, maybe the mistake that you made you a better person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you're able to look back at it and think that's a mistake, you're automatically a better person.
Exactly.
You're not in that same place anymore.
You're not trapped in that mistake. So it's kind of like, you can look back at it, and sometimes things that you like regretted or found really bad at the time, you can kind of laugh at. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing! I can't believe I said that.
It's better to just laugh about it. Just write it off.
Exactly. Write it off and like just move on in it, and hope you don't make the same mistake again.
Well, thank you very much, Kafayat, for coming in the studio. It's been lovely to have you. It's been lovely to have you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
And can I just say to everyone that's watching, 100 Thoughts from One Mind, it's out now. You said it's on Amazon. You can buy it online. Please buy it and support our very own. My name is HADDY NDURE. This is African Youth. And to everybody that's watching, especially the young people, we want to hear from you. If you have a story you want to tell, you have anything you want to say, my contact details are on the bottom of the screen, and we would love to hear from you.